Hey, YouTubers and friends, how you doing there? I forgot to turn on my on-air light, so that's why there was a little bit of dead air or whatever. Man, oh man, YouTubers, Flash fam, and friends, I'm really excited about this show. We have Man versus Gold off to Alaska with us here from YouTube. This guy, a fellow Pacific Northwesterner, has come a long way. He followed his dream and he's reaping the rewards now, so to speak. But we'll get into that more when we come back with my friend Ryan right after this.
Episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night Hangout Live. With your hosts, Ed Marvin, Toledo and Jess, and Dano. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
All right, we are back. Welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live with Toledo Jess, Dano, and I, with our special guest. I can't wait to one day be able to run into him sometime when I'm home or up in AK. Ryan Cardoza. Did I say that right? But we have a bit of history going back a long ways. That guy even helped me with my channel art back in the day. But first, we're going to let Dano and Jesse say a few words and maybe have a rant from Jesse. I don't know. You know how we are here. We shoot from the hip. And I'm sure we could let you call in, David and Spike Littlejohn. Good to see you. Hope you're healing well. Rest, my friend. Heal. I know you've been under the knife a few times too many lately. So, Jesse, Dano, how you doing?
I'm excited about finally getting to talk to Ryan.
Me too.
We chat every once in a while, say hi and make comments and different posts and stuff together and talk a little bit, but I never really got to sit and talk with him. And this is going to be fun tonight. And do I have a rant? Oh,
surely not.
Surely I do, but we'll let it go for tonight.
Right on. No, there'll be another time for.
There's plenty of other times. I have lots of things I can rant about.
We could say that for an open line Tuesday.
No,
sure, why not?
Working up to the Flash Bash.
Oh, I'm excited about Flash Bash. Yeah, we're sold out.
As they say on GPS, goldprospectorspace.com.
Flash Bash. And no one can say it like Shad,
No, Shad. Yeah. He's quite the soprano.
Yeah,
Shad's still out. Every time you take a picture, he's in the background.
Right. Let's real quick say hello to our fabulous chat room.
Okay, which way are you going, from the very top or?
I'm starting at the top with number 1, American Gold Prospector, and he's number 2 and 3.
Yeah, that he is.
Yes.
And then our buddy, yeah, Jeff, thank you. And Jeremy, the ugly prospector, welcome.
Oh, there's our wonderful moderator.
The world's greatest,
sheriff.
greatest moderator and weekend flash fammer. He is part of the weekend crew for my auctions.
He is the voice.
He helps a lot, the voice.
David
The
B
voice.
slipped in there after him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at JP. JP got in there pretty quick tonight. JP.
And JP and Benzo Bros gonna be at the bash. I don't know if their other halves are coming, but I asked in the event page.
I think JP's wife was pretty interested in wanting to make sure she had directions.
Well, they don't have FB. They're Nazi, Facebook Nazis like Dano, and they're using her for a media. But I asked her on the group page for the event if the wives are coming. I don't think I got a reply yet.
Oh.
Then we have Dennis Hendrick.
Right.
And Dwight.
Can we say hi, Dwight?
He'll be at Flash Bash. Yeah, he'll be at Flash Bash.
Right.
Lee Duncan, welcome.
And I did see Thomas Folks showed up.
Hey, Lucky Ducky Thomas Folks. And our buddy Dave Buckle from the Land Down Under, talking about famous legends right there.
Did you say famous or infamous?
Probably it should be infamous.
He's the king of hypothetical.
The king of hypotheticals, yes.
805 gold prospecting. Hello.
Michael Anderson.
Rose is in here. Treasure Vixens.
I was talking about you and Angela earlier.
Uh-oh.
I'd have to talk to them. Well, they're also going to be at Flash Bash too with Snorkle Pirate and Outdoor Influencer. It's going to be like the who's of all kinds of treasure hunters at Flash Bash from.
It was going to be fun stuff.
I'm honored.
Too.
Chris is in the room.
Yeah, I like it.
Chris.
Carrie.
Spike. I know you already said hi to Spike, but
you didn't.
Brian
call in. That's Brian. Jesse call in.
Not yet. Hey, Bob Drake, how you doing? Is Oak Island off? Is their season over? Is it Oak Island time?
No.
I know.
9 o'clock.
I know Bob Drake cheats on us and watches Oak Island. They're gonna find wood, maybe a large cent.
He said,
"I know." He said,
"Hey, Robinson Prospecting."
I'm always happy when I find wood.
Makes you know you're still alive.
Bob Denault, welcome. Someone tagged me up here. Little dirt diggers. Hi. I got such a cool prize from her. I love the barber. You'd like that marble, Jesse. It's a nice old marble and a Civil War bullet. Oh, but hey, I got something else in the mail from another person coming to Flash Bash, a member of the Flash fam, Laurel and her son.
Oh, it's Laurel. Nice.
Enclosed, she should have been a doctor and not a teacher. I can hardly read her writing. Or maybe I shouldn't have ditched and gone surfing and went to school. That's probably would have been more it.
Hello, Marvin.
Enclosed are some items. A mini scope. So I got another USB microscope. That's for Ed and G, for PC, Ed and Judy. She even included Judy. Thank you, Laurel. Ed and Flash Fam crew, Jesse and Dano and Judy. Thank you all for a great channel, Laurel and Son. Yeah, that's kind of funny because first time she was coming around, I'm like Laurel and Hardy pun, you know,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, that ain't the first time I've heard that. But she sent a crystalline silver nugget.
Nice.
Quit! Don't focus on my face, damn camera.
Well, there just
Focus.
might be one of those in the treasure chest at the outing.
Then she got this from Littleton Coin Company, but it's a nice Indian head penny. 1906 Indian head penny. Then this is cool. She must have heard me say something about how I really like tokens, but this goes to Ed Marvin, a true token fan. Oh man, jeez. That yellow marker highlighter's kind of making it all screw. See where it's bleeding through my background? That says to Ed Marvin, a true token fan. From Laurel and Son for 2020. Thank you for all your extended Flash family. I think that might be it. Flash family forever. I like that. Hashtag Flash fam forever. Yeah.
Like it.
I like it. And with the little smiley face, you can see the smiley face. It ain't highlighted. But yeah, it's good times. Assembly, SG, Somerville, food, drink, fun. Looks like an arcade token. Good. Cool. This is going up on my shed wall, my little treasure shelf with all my other little treasures that mean a bunch to me. Thank you very much, Laurel.
Hey, Gold Rush Tasmania and David, our Mr. Buckles there, says, Debs says hello to everyone in Flash family. Hi, Debs.
Hi, Debbie.
Hey.
What's up, Debbie?
Debbie's awesome.
She is. She's awesome.
Matt.
Oh, Dave's lucky to have her, too, let me tell you.
She's a trooper putting up with him.
I think anyone who puts up with any of us, we're lucky to have them. Like, you're lucky to have Ruby. I'm lucky to have Judy. Dana's lucky to have Barb. Bryan, I don't know about who he's lucky to have.
What was that? Did I miss something?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you?
I think I did. It's looking at me like I missed something real important.
Well, maybe your better half.
Who's that?
His dredge nozzle.
I don't.
You don't?
No, I'm two good sides of, two good halves. So.
The dredge is his mistress.
Hey, you can't be a gold miner and have an old lady, man. It just don't work out around here. It's too rough outside.
I suppose that would be a problem.
Nah, they make some Alaska women pretty gnarly. So there's a few out there that could handle it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why a good woman always brought a premium in the gold fields.
Oh, is that right? I hadn't heard that one.
So everybody, say hello to our friend Ryan.
Hey, everybody, Chad, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Hopefully, I can make it exciting for you guys.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm already excited because you're here. Like I said earlier, man, I finally get to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, it's
oh,
gonna
heck
be fun,
yeah.
that's for sure. I wanted to
Yeah,
hang out with you guys for quite some time. It was just a little bit of figuring out what what the contract said I could let loose, and
right.
now that I know, hey, let's have at it.
And we are aware that there are some things you can't talk about, and that's fine, and we'll work around that.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, but as most of you guys know out there, this Ryan was on just recently, or still is. Is the show over now?
It's over for the season, but
Yeah.
they've already let it out on social media that we're getting ready to film another season.
Nice.
So yeah, June 1st, right, or early June rather. We're gonna start this next season. That'll be season 4.
Nice.
Nice.
So
The fourth season that you've been on?
No, this will be my second season.
Oh, okay.
That's
Because
the first season of the show.
Right.
we were talking about this before it even happened when you didn't even know. I think you got Brian Wilder's spot.
I might have. I haven't heard anything about him, but I know that him and Fred are friends. I see him on Fred's friends list, and I notice he chimes in quite a bit. So I thought, hey, that looks like a pretty good prospector.
Brian's balls out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hardcore,
Yeah, he seems like a good guy for sure. I mean, I worked with him many times, so.
Oh, Brian's a really good guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him in person. Great guy. But you were after Casey Morgan was on and hurt himself.
Casey went over to Dave Turns, and
yeah.
I took one of the guy's spots. What happened with Bryan? Why did he decide to pass on it, or what happened there?
I think maybe the producers over at Discovery or whatever, when they had his I don't know, maybe he'll call in later.
He didn't really elaborate when he told us about it, that he was offered to be on the show. He just said that it didn't happen.
Well, they talk to you, and then they'd Skype with you and sort of like see how you are on video, and it's kind of a screen test.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they're awful picky over there. I don't know how in the hell I ever got on there, but
he might have been too pretty.
Might have been, too pretty for the part, huh, Brian?
Yeah.
We love you, brother.
Brian's a lot of fun to hang out with.
That he is.
We went to Vermont and we hung out with him there. That was a fun time.
He does a lot of dredging in Maine.
Right.
You don't know, Ryan. And he does pretty good.
Yeah, I watch his YouTube posts and stuff, and I see he shows some good gold now and then, so I see he's always out there dredging and stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, and if he ain't dredging, he's sniping, and I've seen him in Vermont in a little puddle of water with his face down in it, picking out little pickers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, sniping in a little creek.
Well,
hey, hi, Rose.
Hello, Rose.
And Snorkle Pirate.
Hey.
Now, can I open this YouTube here and watch the chat as long as I mute the volume?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Just don't watch the show. It'll mess you up.
Yes.
Pay attention to Zoom.
Got it.
But we talked about it a little in pre-show, how I wanted to dive deeper. There's a lot more history. Everybody, if you don't know, there's a lot more history to Ryan, Manvsgold North to Alaska, Cardoza, and Flash in Your Pan than just a year or two. There's like oh my God, 8 years or
Yeah, a
I
long time.
yeah, long time. I know a little of your history. I've heard it before, but now we're here in front of the Flash Pam and not the Gold Prospectors family or you and me and I am or Voicing or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, elaborate to us the backstory. You're from Portland.
Yeah.
Now I know I was joking about being down by the river getting stoned with your skater buddies and stuff earlier, but and you saw someone panning, but from from before to when you got the interest, let's hear it. Here,
Well,
I'll pin you up so you'll have the stage, my
all
friend.
right, good deal. Well, to start it off, like Ed said, I was down partying with my buddies at the creek, long weekend and just heavy partying as a youngster does. And uh, these old timers came walking by. They walked right on the side of the camp, and they weren't hindering us or nothing. But I noticed them. They were close enough. I saw them, and they had some hammers and picks and all this stuff. And I thought, what in the hell are these guys doing? So I just kind of paid attention to what they were doing, and they were digging the banks, digging up in the crevices and doing all this and that. And for the life of me, I could never imagine what these guys were doing out there. I didn't know anything about gold at the time. Um, I didn't know anything about the creek at the time, minerals, any of that. I was just a high school crazy kid. And um, what I did though, because we had the internet and what a tool it is for mining, I went home and I looked up what they were doing in the river. What would these guys be doing? And what I found out was they were prospecting for gold. And I thought, wow, I had no idea that, there was gold right under our feet. A lot of times when we get into gold mining and we hear about gold mining, we think there's a lot more gold than there really is. We think it's a lot easier to get than it really is. So my interest was perked. I figured, hey, I'm gonna go out here and get rich along with these old timers and
Oh yeah.
and escape the whole 9 to 5 like everybody wants to do. And after a little bit of research, I headed back down there with the first thing I started with was the base of a plant, a watering planter or whatever they're called. The little
Right.
tray you slide under a plant to
Right,
capture the
right,
water.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I hauled ass down there with one of those things and started panning material, and it was a serious eye-opening awakening by the end of the day. I'd shoveled all day, and thank God, right at the end, I got one little speck of gold. And I showed it to all my friends, and you know what? Not a one of them could see it. But I saw it. I
see,
saw it.
see,
Where?
it's right there.
Oh, that sounds like the first time I showed my wife a pan of gold that I got prospecting.
Is that all you got?
And she goes, "Where?" I'm going right here, right there. She goes, "Where? I don't see it." And then
And
she
that's
hands
the way
me,
it is, man.
then she hands me a mayonnaise jar. And says, "Let me know when you fill this up."
Well, I'll talk to you in about 500 years. But anyhow, yeah, I saw that speck of gold, and that speck of gold changed my life. It really did. Um,
It does.
you wouldn't
Amazing
imagine.
how little of a piece can do that. Just that
Yes,
little
I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, I got the worst case of fever over something that no one else could see. I mean, that's an amazing testament to what gold does to people, in a positive way, but we all know that there's also a negative that can come along with that as well. Um, but
Right.
anyhow, that one piece of gold changed my life, and I got harder at it there, and that was the Malala River, right next to the Willamette there in
Okay.
Malala, Oregon, actually. And that's not just, it's not the best place to find gold, and it's rough going out there, but I stuck at it anyway, and I accumulated a little bit. I might have got, out of a month's work, maybe a gram. But, I've always been an anti 9 to 5 kind of guy. So, and just kind of a thinker in the way of how can I get out of having to do this horrible 9 to 5 deal. And So I thought, where can I go and try to make a living at this? And that's right around the time Gold Rush Alaska started. So
Mhm.
I saw these guys, similar story from right down the street. Of course, they had a bunch of money
Yeah.
to start with,
They're
but
from Sandy, right?
yeah, just right down the way. I mean, that's literally a couple towns over, 15 minutes away or so. So it was pretty inspiring to me and inspiring to a lot of people. I'm sure, that the show's still, the number one show on Discovery. So,
Right.
people still love it. But yeah, that kind of got, with my fever already. Then with Gold Rush Alaska coming, it kind of pointed me in that direction. And then the guy I was living at the time, my roommate, who's still actually my roommate, uh, his dad had a cabin up in Willow, which is where I live now. And he was always telling me, "Hey, I got a cabin in Alaska if you ever want to go visit." And I thought, I would never want to really do that unless I was going to go fishing or hunting or something. But now that the gold stuff, everything started to point to, you have an opportunity here. If you're willing to give it up and go give it a shot, maybe there'll be something at the end of the rainbow for you. So, that's kind of what we did. I was a painter at the time, and I own my own business as a painter, and that was the kind of, dealing with people and just the whole government system of red tape and all this stuff. That was a lot of what made me want to get out of the 9 to 5 kind of scenario. So
Yeah, people will do that.
yeah, I sure as hell will. And so I sold everything off, and I think I accumulated $5,000 and a vehicle, a Jeep, to take up. So we used that money, bought a little 3-inch dredge, and headed up to Alaska, kind of hitting the open to the public areas because we didn't know, if they'd be rich, if they were
Right.
horrible. So we kind of worked our way up towards northern Alaska, hitting these open to the public areas. And I tell you what, it was real rough going. It was real rough going. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think we made enough money each day to fill the tank back up with gas for the next day. So, it was very eye opening for sure to, think you're going to strike it rich, go out there and make about $5, $6, $7 and, put out all that effort.
That's
So,
right. That's like going to the casino and playing the slots and just winning just enough to keep you playing.
yeah.
Just
And then at the end, going home broke.
right.
But
But
anyhow,
it's still not enough to make it.
that's
Just
true.
enough to keep playing.
Yeah. And that's kind of when some of the friends I'd made through Oregon Gold Prospectors and various sites that had prospectors on them. I met a guy who already lived here in Alaska from Oregon who was a gold miner, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to come out there and take a peek at what you guys are doing and see if I can't see what's going on, why you guys aren't making money." And his name was
Right.
Justin Peterson. He's a friend of mine on Facebook there, and he came out, saw what we were doing, said, "Hey, you need to make a few adjustments. You're digging in the wrong spot. You're trying too hard. You're not." Everything we were doing was wrong, basically. And
You're not doing it right.
yeah, you're not doing it right. And I think we discussed some. He came late at night. We discussed some stuff overnight, and I woke up in the morning. He was already out at the creek. He had already found a good pay streak. He, told us come on over and put us on it. And right that day, we went from $7 a day to $750 a week.
Nice.
So, I mean, that turned everything around. Now we could eat. It helps to eat when you're mining.
Yeah. You need that little bit of strength.
Yeah, we do. So it was ramen and hot dogs up to that point, but I think at the end of that week we all had a steak. So
Let me say real quick. I know a couple people just come
all
in.
right.
Walter Brunani, and how you doing? Coulter Young, how are you tonight?
Coulter Young, Magic Bits.
What's up, buddy?
Thank you, Coulter. Not a great gamer. I hope all's well there. Ganna's still there.
I think she snuck back.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Good, Walter. Hey, Jason Com.
What's up, Jason? So we like to say hi to people when we see them come in because they are they are why we're here, you know?
That's right, 100%,
Yeah.
man.
That's why we're here.
Good to see all
So,
those people in the chat.
yeah. So you went up there, you struggled,
Struggled bad, buddy, real bad.
struggled. There was a couple times there I saw you were ready to give it up.
Yeah.
And,
You know, gold mining can give you the just worst feelings ever, you know, after testing
Yeah.
and testing and nothing and nothing and nothing. And when you're dependent on that as your only income, the discouragement that can come along with mining is extraordinary. And usually that's where people run into problems. You know, everybody's discouraged and,
Right.
you know, attitudes change.
Oh,
And then next
shoot.
thing you know, you got bickering and, you know, it goes downhill from there. But,
right.
excuse me. Continuing on, what we ended up doing was just, and this is important, you know, we ended up networking around the area we were working with other people that were working in that area.
Right.
And eventually what ended up happening is we met somebody and got on a private claim. And that private claim was rich, real rich. And
Nice.
so then we went from 750 a week to about 15,000 a month. And then we were getting somewhere, you know, and that's a lot of my YouTube videos were made during that time.
Right.
And a lot of the reason I kind of stopped making those YouTube videos was during that time, a group of guys watched my video in Oregon and drove up and found me in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, on the creek and pulled up next to me, which was not a bad deal. But the bad deal was they fought the entire time. I'm
Oh,
talking
man.
on the verge of fist fighting, two brothers. So
Oh boy.
that was unfortunate. And I just thought, man, how powerful are these videos? How powerful is video? and
Right,
YouTube?
exactly. I mean, that's one of the things that we have mentioned quite often here.
Well, that's kind of why we don't show much gold.
Right.
Yeah. And
Or,
that, yeah, exactly.
or exactly where we're at.
Yeah.
Because if you show sceneries, there's people around there watching your videos that know exactly where you're at.
Of
Yeah,
course,
that's
it's
true. Yep.
people that do what we do and looking
Right.
for gold in the videos about prospecting in the state they're living in.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know where they're at. They're at blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Right. But at the same time too, because of your networking and stuff. I mean, and this is the good thing about the internet is you were able to hook up with some good people.
Yes.
And I myself have found that this community of prospectors and treasure hunters, there's a lot more good people than there is bad people in this group.
I
mean,
agree 100%.
You know, hey, what's up, Top Cat?
Top Cat, Todd.
What's up, Todd?
We'll be prospecting with them in September out in the motherlode of
Ooh,
California.
that'll be fun.
How often do you get back home?
Not very often. I think I've been back once since I've been in Alaska now 6 years.
Uh,
So
Okay.
I don't get back too often, that's for sure. I need to get back more often.
Well,
You know,
maybe
the summers are
next.
so short and the winters are so long. I need to get out of here in the winter time and go find some sun somewhere, and that'd be a good spot to do it anywhere. You
that's
know,
why
south of,
that's why Fred lives down south.
yeah, sure does.
Yeah, well, Southwest
Well,
Oregon's
okay.
beautiful country.
Yeah.
Gold
I'm gonna
Hill
have to go move
area.
in with Fred.
There you go.
Yeah, moving with the boot.
So how is Fred to hang out with?
Fred is an incredible dude.
I imagine he's got some awesome stories to tell.
I mean, if you've ever sat down with an old timer that can tell story after story after story all night long and keep
Awesome.
you interested, that's Fred. I gotta say, you know, there's two sides to Fred. There is the working for Fred, and then there's the hanging out with Fred. Hanging out
Well, I'm
with
sure.
Fred. Yeah, hanging out
And
with
I'm
Fred.
sure,
He's the best
and I'm
dude.
sure there's a living with Fred side,
Yeah,
and there's you know,
yeah, exactly.
you know,
You go to work for him, he's like any kind of old timer that grew up in that era. He's a micromanaging fool. I mean,
And he wants it done a certain way.
yeah. If
He
I let
wants
him
it
into the
done. It's
bathroom,
his way or no way.
that's the damn truth. If I'd let
Yeah.
him in the bathroom, he'd tell me how to wipe my butt. I always told him.
And I'm sure.
But
Quit shaking it so much.
yeah, but you know what? I'm at least at that age group where I've dealt with a lot of that in my life. Most of my bosses during my life have been the same way. So,
Right.
we did butt heads here and there, but overall, Fred's an awesome dude and I enjoy his company and we've had a lot of good times together. And, even after hearing all those stories, I'm always willing to hear more because he just puts so much passion and excitement into it. It's real easy to just sit there and, hours pass. So,
Just listen.
that's
Right.
right. He's a great dude and he's got a ton of information just to share with everybody. So I've just been lucky to be able to sit there and listen to him all night. There were some times when everybody was gone, it was just me and Fred on the whole mountain. And those are some of the best times I had with him, just
Oh, I'll bet.
hanging out with Fred. Yeah.
Oh, I'll bet. So is he a jokester?
Yeah, he's a very much a jokester. He's got a crack for everything. So he's a pro one-liner kind of guy. So
All right, cool.
yeah, he'd hang out with any of us and fit right in. I mean, none
Awesome.
of you guys have ever met him at the gold shows or anything?
Not
No, he
yet.
hasn't been here.
Oh,
He hasn't come this far east. I'm sure maybe some of the people in the chat room might have. I've never met him.
Well,
we might have
I
it right
guess
now.
we'll have to get to the Mesa, Arizona, or the Portland, Oregon show sometime.
Yeah.
And next time I go out home for a visit, I'm gonna let you know well in advance. And
Yeah. I'm gonna
if
start traveling to those gold shows too. They've been on me to start going, and I've always wanted to go, but now I have an opportunity to do that. And I think I'm gonna start, maybe going around with Fred and them and just visiting gold shows.
You gotta come out to the East Coast ones. I mean, there's it's all well and fine. There's a lot of people that do that out west, and it's a little more convenient for you guys. I understand that, but there's a lot of people on the East Coast, that.
oh yeah,
I mean, there's just a ton of us out here.
Oh, yeah.
it's amazing the prospecting community out on this side of the country.
Right. It's big.
Even in Ohio alone, it's really actually quite large. And
There's gold in Ohio.
no, there's no gold in Ohio. I'm gonna pull a Mr. Lodak.
Yeah.
There ain't no gold in Ohio.
And I want to go back on that little bit of story I was telling. I ended off on 15,000 a month, which sounds pretty spectacular. That only lasted a couple months. Much as you guys know, the gold
It's
can disappear.
expensive.
Yeah, and we cleaned that hole out, and it was back to struggles again. So it's not total success story. There's been more struggle than there's been profit, and that's the way gold mining usually is. And I'm not going to say we're in the hole over it, but there was a lot of hard times and a lot of great times. Yeah.
You're not getting fabulously rich.
No, that's for sure. And a lot of people want to come to Alaska and go gold mining and this and that. And yeah, there's gold in Alaska, but take it from me, I've walked these mountains and tested and almost, I won't say everywhere because Alaska's 3 times the size of Texas. So
Right.
I'm not going to get to all of it, but from what I've seen, it's extremely hard to find a paying location if you're going to work with the dredge. It's really, really, really tough. So don't come up here, whoever's in the chat or whoever it might be. And I answer questions every year of people that want to come. To be honest with you, it's very, very, very difficult to find a location that you're going to be able to live and make a living and pay bills and all this stuff.
Right. That's heartache after heartache.
Well, and everything's so expensive up there.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you want to buy any size dredge, it's going to cost you about $600 shipping. So you imagine that you buy a $2,500 dredge and then they throw $600 shipping on there. Well, that's pretty steep.
Yeah.
So
you better be on some really good ground.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably that's a case where maybe you go down and you get a small shipping container and you put a truck in it and a dredge in it, your food for a season and a lot of necessities and luxuries for up there, and you ship it up from Seattle to a port.
Yep, that's the way to do it. And if you're already in Alaska, you just have to eat the shipping cost. They already
Right.
shipped it up. If you want to go buy a new dredge down here at the gold store, that shipping's already on it. So
Yeah.
there's no way to get around that. But if you're already down in the lower 48, definitely trailer it up or ship it up like Ed's saying. I mean, that's definitely the way to
Bryan
go.
Wilder's gonna be in Alaska in 90 days.
Oh yeah, where's he going?
I don't know. Bryan, where are you going?
He's going to that place where the Wandering Buffaloes went to. What was the name of that
Oh,
place?
up on the 40
Chicken.
mile?
Yeah, chicken. Yep.
Let me tell you about chicken.
Okay.
I've sent a couple people there. These, like I was telling you, I talk to people every year that want to come up and mine, and some of them do make it. I've sent a couple people to chicken, and every one of them has done well.
Good.
So just to share a little information with you guys, if you guys
Go
ever
to
do want to come up to Alaska, go to chicken. That's
Just
that's
go
your
to
best
chicken.
bet. Go to chicken. That's your best. If you can't go to Nome, and get on somebody else's property that's rich, the next best bet, in my opinion, is chicken. I've been wanting to get there, the last few years myself, but I just haven't got around to it yet. I will get there one of these days.
Chicken. Note to self. Go to
Go to
chicken.
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 It's cool. It's real
Alaska
cool.
equals chicken.
And the numbers I'm getting quoted out of chicken is 3 to 6 grams an hour, so pretty decent. A
Pretty
gram of
good.
gold, what's that worth these days? $40, $45?
Well, it's over 17 right now, isn't it? Still.
It was 16 something when I checked the stock market today
Yeah, so
for
that's not a bad
actual.
hourly wage there.
No, it's still not a bad hourly wage.
No. So, I've suggested people go there and they've done well, and that's probably the best bet. I've suggested people go other places, and unfortunately not all places are good. So I hate to advise people, but
How about Wasilla?
Wasilla has no gold in it. I mean, there's gold everywhere in people's driveways and everything, but it's so small and
Right. There you go, David.
The price per ounce now, you're right, Jesse, 17.25.40. So
Ooh, it's still dropped down some. Actually, no.
55.47 a gram.
$45 a gram. That's not a bad hourly wage,
No.
And that could work. It could be paying there one area, not in the other. Who knows? I'm not trying to tell people to, go give up everything and go there. But if you're going to take a trip to Alaska and you want to get some gold, that'd be a good bet.
But if you do give up everything, drop everything, and go to do that and make a living out of it, realize it's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
Doggone
And
I did it again.
It looks like Tasmania. Am I on Gold Rush or Gold Rush Whitewater? I'm on Gold Rush Whitewater, buddy. Even though on my IDMB or whatever page, it credits me for being on Gold Rush Alaska, and I haven't been on it. So
No, he's not
I
Whitewater.
get a free credit. I'll take it.
Yeah. They pay you extra for that?
No, they didn't, but I'll take it if they want to.
Yeah. Of course, if you go and say, hey, man, since you're put me on that show, where's my pay for that show? They go, oh, wait, that was our mistake. Erase.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wait,
right.
delete.
Never seen something get deleted so quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just a hard living out there, You guys all know. You guys are all miners. I don't generally talk to, I don't usually tell my story much to miners. It's usually people who don't know about gold mining and just want to hear what's going on. But you guys know how tough it is, You guys all from the East Coast?
My two co-hosts are, yes.
I'm from Ohio, born and raised.
Flatlander.
And I'm an old retired guy that sitting around watching Gold Fever one night and saw Tom Massey in Ohio
Yeah.
telling me there's gold in Ohio. There's gold in Ohio, he said. There's good gold in Ohio. And I'm going, what? So I checked it out, got joined the GPA, found my first gold. I was hooked, So, but that's, after retirement, my experience comes, I'm still a Johnny come lately, I got about 8 years, but I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of fun, great people. That's the best part for me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great people.
Yeah.
I get to talk to TV stars, and I get to, hang out with YouTubers, and
Hell yeah, that's great.
it's been fun, and I've been finding some gold, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
Trying new product out and stuff.
Yeah. Is the gold pretty hard to come by over that way?
Sometimes it's really hit and miss here. It's all glaciated. So, you never know where the glaciers put her down.
Yeah.
But I have found pickers. My first time out this year, I found 2 pickers.
Wow. Hey, that ain't bad.
Yeah, nice little
flake.
friends.
Cornflake.
Nice. Hey, if it wasn't for our friend Chris inviting us to his permission,
Right.
there is no real public land. There's no BLM, state forest, land you're not really allowed to work in. National forest, you can only maybe pan and shovel.
About best you get permissions.
So permissions is about the only place you can run a dredge or a high banker or leases.
That makes it pretty tough.
There is no claims here. So even though everybody calls the leases claims, I can kind of understand why. But as a Westerner, it kind of messes with my head a little. And I go, they're not claims, they're leases.
But if you can find a nice piece of creek and get permission to get on it, and there's gold in that creek, you can do all right. It's not gonna be making a living type prospecting.
Yeah.
It's more going out, hanging out on the weekend, digging dirt and getting your half a gram for the weekend. It's like that. Not to say that you can't hit pockets here and there. I mean, one year I pulled out 4 pickers out of one area. We were doing a dig. That was cool. Nice pickers. And I still have the dream that I'm gonna find a softball sized nugget here in Ohio.
Hey, we all have that dream, man.
It might happen. You never know.
It got dropped, and it's been sitting there waiting for me.
We have a question from Dennis Edick. When you were talking about chicken, AK, are you talking about private land or public land?
Well, I'm talking about land that's been claimed generally, but there are open to the public areas in Chicken. There is one that I know of, and I don't know what the pay is on that. The areas that I'm talking about are all on people's claims. So
like those pay to dig places, resorts and stuff.
Yeah, I think the one the Wandering Buffaloes went to is something like that, like you pay and you go out for the weekend, or I'm not exactly
right,
sure.
or the week. You can get a 5-inch or a 4-inch.
Yeah.
And their trips are a week, 10 days.
Oh, okay.
It's I don't remember. I don't exact gold. I can't remember the name of the place that they go to, but it is in Chicken.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't remember it. I'd know it any other time, but now.
Gold Rush something.
Yeah, Chicken is known to kind of be pretty evenly paying. So, you can go to a gravel bar here or a gravel bar there, and it's pretty much this much pay per yard of material you run. And that's why people get big old giant dredges out there, the 8-inch, 10-inch dredges out there with, big motors, Volkswagen
Right.
motors or whatever they're using to just run as much material as they possibly can.
Absolutely.
And so, I would say in the open to the public areas, you should expect similar results just because it is known to be similar pay per yard, just along the whole river of, 40-mile river. But there is actually a place called Chicken, Alaska. I tell
Right.
people chicken and they're like, chicken. But yeah, Chicken, Alaska, and the river's called the 40-mile.
What about Sacha, Alaska?
Sacha, Alaska. I haven't heard about that one.
SAC.
Is he saying it right? I mean, there's so many towns and
I don't know. I could Google search it.
yeah, let me look at that too and see if I can figure it out. Oh yeah, I see.
Hey, well,
It's SALCHA.
Yeah, I see that. I've never heard of it. Fairbanks North Star Borough.
Okay, so
I haven't made it up
that's
to
a long
Fairbanks yet.
ways away from you.
Yeah, I think Fairbanks about 4 hours, 3 hours, something like that
Bush Plain?
by bush plane. Yeah, that's one big problem here is mainly the access. I mean, there's not a lot of roads, trails. There are some trails, but they're really, really bad. So our main enemy up here is just access. The land is, I don't know how people normally picture Alaska, but where I live, and it's not how I pictured it. I pictured steep mountains and huge forests, and the truth be told, where I live here in Willow, it's mostly flat land swamp.
really?
Really small trees.
Yeah, because when I think of Alaska, I think the same thing: mountain ranges and mountains, snow caps, and
Southern Alaska is definitely that way. Haines is that way.
Okay.
But I live up, in the interior, and in the interior, it's all swamp. I'm right next to Denali, and it's even swamp where I'm at. So that just tells you how swampy this area is. And even though there are a few mountains around, it's still all swamp.
Huh. You wouldn't. It just doesn't seem like there would be swamp.
Yeah. I was blown away too, man. Wasn't what I expected of Alaska.
Gold Fever, Alaska.
Oh yeah, Gold Fever Prospecting or something.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Gold Fever Prospecting. Yep.
I haven't seen nothing but good stuff out of those guys. So.
Well, they did videos that I saw the buffaloes do. They did, pretty good for the. What they wind up with 3 ounces each.
3 ounces each over 10 days or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Dennis has a question, Ryan.
Yeah.
Again, he's wondering what your internet handle is. And I'm like, YouTube or what? Because you're different on Facebook than you are on YouTube. So.
Yeah, and I got a comment on that. I got a bone to pick with you miners. And I'm guilty of the same thing, but isn't that the way it works?
Yep.
People are always changing their name, and I can't remember who the heck's who. I'll get a message from somebody and, they're talking as if we've been buddies for years and I have no idea who it is, but really I do know who it is, but they changed their name. It seems
right.
to be.
Yeah, we have a few of those in here right now too.
But my internet handle's Manvsgold or Ryan Manvsgold Cardoza. Either way, you can find it that way.
Yeah,
do you guys have that problem too with people changing their names and you can't ever figure out? Oh yeah. Okay. It's not convenient.
Yeah, Dwight Wooton.
They're not happy with their own name,
Yeah. Like I'm sure a lot of these people I know from the old days, and they have a different name now. So
I have
to figure them out.
Let me interject really quick. I have a friend originally from Orange County, California, that I went and actually stayed with her and her brother when I moved from Anaheim to Anacortes, Washington. A very good friend of mine, Michelle Kellogg. She lives up in Bellingham now.
I see her. Hello, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle, it's good to see you.
Hello,
Thanks for
Michelle.
coming in. Michelle, meet my friend Ryan. He lives in Alaska now. Longtime YouTuber and friend over YouTube. And you can't see Toledo, Jess, and Dano, but they're there. Say hi,
We're
guys.
here.
Hey,
Hi.
All right, thank you.
Now that's over with.
I see another question here. Gold Pro Unlimited, Hatcher's Pass is mountains, beautiful, largest gold producer in AK. He's exactly right. I do say it's swamp, but there are a couple real nice mountain ranges that are around. You know, we're in the middle of those, so it's like a bowl, and that's the swamp area. Hatcher's Pass, that area is basically the next street over from me, and you know, you follow that road up into the mountains, and they're getting up there at that mine 22 ounces per ton.
Wow.
And you can imagine, you know, I think around three, I'm not a load miner, but I think around 3 ounces per ton is pretty decent. So,
Didn't
you
you
know,
think about getting into load mining for a little while, or was it all placer?
it's all been placer. But when I was coming to Alaska, a guy from here in Willow called me. He's a big load claim owner. And he told me, hey, man, before you bring that dredge to Alaska, I want you to know that the money's in load mining. You ain't going to make no money dredging. And he was pretty much right. But um, it was funny to get a call from a guy like that and just, you know, out of the blue, this guy's willing to call me up and spend a couple hours on the phone to help me on my journey up to Alaska, not even knowing. I mean, that's awesome. You know, miners are a special breed of people for sure. And at least in my experience, I've been looked after really, really well. And I don't have any complaints really about the mining community at all. I mean, they've always been arms wide open for me. So
That's
That's,
cool.
that's the coolest part about doing this.
yeah,
Is the people that you meet, you know,
yep.
they're also helpful. I mean, I just don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah.
I miss my chickens though.
You missed your what? Chickens?
I miss
Oh, in the
my-
background.
No, I miss all my
Uh,
creatures.
Oh, I see. You got a
David
lot of empty
Buckle.
space.
David Buckle from Gold Rush, Tasmania. Do you use a wetsuit or a dry suit, Ryan?
I've always used a wetsuit, and on the show we also use a wetsuit. Now, I don't know if you guys follow Kayla Nugget Johansson. Do you guys follow her?
I know who
Kayla?
she is.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
Kayla.
I gotta give her props now.
Oh man.
She is a lady. She is a lady alone who dropped everything and did the same thing I did, but she's doing it alone by herself. I mean, that is ballsy if I ever heard it. And
That was fun. That was fun watching her dredge for the first time.
yeah,
You know, yeah, she had a little 2-inch dredge, but that was still. Did she work the 4-inch at all? I don't remember.
she's up here now with that 4-inch, working it
Oh, is
pretty
she?
well. And yeah, and
Good.
she's doing it. It looks like she's doing pretty good. I haven't got any numbers yet or anything, but I just wanted to give her a little bit of props there because, you know, if I had to come alone and do it, I wouldn't have done it. I
I tried
had
to-
friends.
I wanted to get her on the show too, especially
Yeah.
after I saw her, especially after I saw her go in there and work her way through dredging, going underwater and dredging.
Yep.
And then, I mean, she didn't quit.
We'll
you
work
know.
on it some more, Jesse.
Yeah.
You
And
never know.
the reason I brought her up is because she does use a dry suit, so she could fill you in on the dry suit part of the equation. But as far as everyone I know, and what we do on the show is we use 7 millimeter wetsuits with heat, and then we also use a 1.5 millimeter what's called hot skin, which goes underneath the wetsuit. And this is all new to me. I just used a regular wetsuit with no heat before, but once I got on this show with all this money floating around and whatever for beer, it was real nice. For the first time in my life on that show, I was comfortable dredging, man. I wasn't freezing
That's
my
cool.
butt off. And it was nice just to be able to dredge and not have to worry about the fact that you're, you know, half dying of hypothermia the whole time.
Right. um, Somebody asked about Ruby, Alaska. Jason, prospecting. There was
I
go-
don't know much about Ruby,
Okay.
but I do
Okay.
know there's a lot of gold stories coming out of Ruby. So there's something to be investigated there for sure.
Now, what are the dredge size limitations on the rivers?
Here in Alaska, it's been a while since I had to get into it, but I
Is it
think
kind of
it's
like Washington? It all depends on the river. But
well,
Washington's changed some laws since I've last dredged there.
you can use up to a 6-inch dredge here with a free permit, and I think that's up to 18 horsepower. And if you're in a salmon stream and you're above 1,850 feet, you can mine all year. But if you're below 1,850 feet, you're only allowed to mine till July 5th or 15th. So there are some rules. Those of you in chat or whoever that might be looking to buy claims, be wary that you can only mine some of these claims for a month or two before the salmon come in. So make sure your claims are above 1,850 feet, and otherwise it's just a free permit that you fill out up to 6-inch dredge. Anything over that, you got to fill out some pretty extensive paperwork. So
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Do you mind if we open up a line and let a couple of people maybe chime in
not
and
at all.
ask you some questions after I address the super chat? Thank you very much, Bob. Oh, run for the hills mining. I wasn't trying to get that metal high voice. My throat's
Yeah, I was
still
gonna say,
kind
you
of
That was
need-
pretty
weird.
good, man.
Thanks for
What's
the
up,
super
Ryan?
chat.
Going on, Ron?
Pardon me. Oh, okay. I'll put the link out in the chat room, and you know what to do then. Don't eat all my M&Ms in the green room. I'll bring you in order, one at a time, and please mute YouTube before I let you in, or we'll
Be ready
get
with
terrible feedback
Call
or
in, David
echo.
Buckle, call in.
For your great hype. Now,
So
for
you
David
said
Buckles,
there-
hypotheticals.
You said there's going to be another season, right?
Yeah, we're going to start filming right around the beginning of June here. And, we're usually already filming by now, but this whole COVID-19 or whatever kind of threw a wrench in everybody's lives.
Well, that's-
not
All
just
right,
ours, but
we have
everyone's.
2 in there. I believe one is GoPro
Yeah.
Unlimited. He's first in line, and then our friend David Buckle from Tasmania. Let's see. Yes, it is. How you doing, Jeff?
What's up,
Let me
Jeff?
unmute
What's up?
How you doing,
you.
Jeff?
He's trying to
He,
connect to his.
he needs to get his mic on.
Yep.
Pick your mic.
I'm gonna
Yo,
show
there
all
it
of you at the
audio.
moment.
Oh,
unmute
come
it.
on.
He's
No.
got
Oh, I need to unmute him.
Nope, there he is.
You
Now turn
can
your
show
camera on.
your mug if you want, Jeff. I got you all gridded in there.
Where do I do that?
Right next to your mic, there's a little camera with a line through it. Just click on it. If
I'm
you're
doing
on,
this cell
are you
phone.
on a phone? Oh,
Yeah.
I
Still
don't
should
know
be there.
Oh,
about phones.
you were on there a minute ago.
Yeah, you turned it off. I could
I should
send
get-
a ask to start your. There you
There
go.
he is. There he is.
There he
Now turn your phone.
Ugly. I'm ugly.
is.
Turn your phone
Man, I'm
landscape if you would, Jeff.
I got 2 mustaches.
There you go.
got
Double
2 of 'em.
Fuman,
Yeah, it's a
double
pretty good look, man.
Fumanchu. How you doing, Jeff?
Hi,
All
Jeff.
right. I'm up and kicking.
Oh, you're up in chicken.
No, I wish I was in chicken.
Oh, okay, buddy. I apologize. I thought you said you were in chicken.
I wish I was. I'm up
Yeah.
and kicking.
Oh, okay, up and kicking. That's good too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You're up there in Willow. I about bought some property up there like 4 years ago, and wish I would have. It was a patented mining claim. So,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
that
What
was
kept
it.
you from doing that? Money. Yeah. Those patented claims, man, that's something to have for sure.
Yeah, man, lifelong dream to be up there.
Yeah. Have you made
For
it up
me.
here yet and done anything?
Yeah, I went up there and actually looked at some property. Like it was 6 years ago, 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and prospected the property. It was awesome, beautiful. Just didn't make it happen.
Yeah, things just didn't work out.
No,
Well, that's too bad, man. Life continues on, and you might have another shot at it.
I hope so. It's a lifelong dream, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it,
if you're dreaming like that, man, go out and grab it, man.
I
Life's
yeah, I
too short.
should have done it.
Yeah.
It actually gave me chills when I heard you were up there at Willow. I thought, oh man, that's so beautiful up there.
Yeah, bringing back memories, man. And
Yeah,
weren't you the one talking about Hatcher's Pass?
yeah,
Yeah, that's just Willow Fish Hook Road, which takes you up there, is the next
right.
main street from me. So I'm just literally right around the corner from the road to go up there. And I've spent a lot of time up in those mountains. And unfortunately, I'm a placer miner, and that's a load deposit. So you can imagine I
Yeah,
didn't do so swell.
yeah. It's
Left their pockets empty.
Now, is it sulfide or is it free milling?
I think it's got to be sulfide. I don't know the difference between the two, to tell you the truth, but I see sulfides all over the place. So there's a lot of sulfides up in this area. So
Yeah, I would have figured if it was placer, or I mean, free milling, you would have some indicators of like float gold in your alluvial fans, and
yeah,
then something in the waterways.
I got to be honest. The whole creek's claimed all the way up.
Oh,
So
Yep.
there are placer miners down in there, and I've
Yep.
never heard of any of them doing real well. But there is gold in the water. So my kind of theory on that is maybe the mountain range is a little bit too young. It hasn't had time for water to break that stuff away and
Wear it
get it
all
into
out.
the
Yeah,
creek.
right.
Yeah, and maybe it's just a little too young yet. So I tend to stick to the older areas, and that's my theory. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but that's just kind of the way I've figured it.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I'll chime out of here. And
Okay, man. Thanks for
hi.
calling in, man. And I see it in your eyes, man. The passion that you got behind your eyes, man. It needs to be addressed. Get out there and get you some.
Yeah, maybe I can look you up one of these days.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll be around, and the show don't last forever. And after it's done, I'll be out looking for a mine. So maybe in the future we might get together and do something.
there you
All
go,
right,
Jeff.
brother.
Nice talking to you, Jeff.
Thanks for
Yeah.
calling in, Jeff.
Thanks for calling in, Jeff.
Jaron, it's your turn.
Jaron, call in, Jaron.
All right, I'll try to get out of here now.
All right.
There's I don't know how to do it on the phone.
Well, I don't know.
And I don't want to boot him out because then he won't be able to come back in. Now we have our friend David Buckle from the land down under. Our friend, the Tasmanian Devil himself. And Gold Rush, Tasmania. Be prepared for
Just be prepared.
Be prepared for a hypothetical. Now, there he is. Hey, David, I need a mic, buddy.
You've done this before.
Yeah, there he
Okay.
is.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Mr. Buckle, how you doing, mate?
Hey,
Oh, I'm well. I'm well. I can see everybody, but I can't see Ryan. I don't want to look at your ugly mugs. I want to see Ryan.
Ryan's
hey, I'm
there.
just as ugly, man.
Hey,
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. Oh man, I've been watching the show. I've been listening to your stories. I did watch a few of your YouTube videos way back. I'm talking way back.
Uh-huh.
And I thought I like this guy. I like this guy. I like his courage. He's got balls. Um, I, I'm going to be a bit of a pain, Ryan, because
Okay.
what you're doing is exactly what I want to do, but a bit different. You're dredging. We're not allowed to dredge here in Tasmania. So what I'm going to do, I'm getting myself set up. I've got a 12-volt hooker pump, and I'm going to snipe, meaning do it the hard way and try to go where there's not much overburden, and get the nuggets and the flakes out of the crevices. I'm very much. I haven't got a lot of gold. I have found a lot of gold in the past. I haven't got a lot of gold now, but I'll give you a quick look. Can you see that?
Hey, that looks good, buddy. That looks real nice.
It's a joke. It's a joke compared to what you're talking about. And as you know, you've done it hard. I'm talking between 1 and 5 grams a day, not per hour. You know.
Yeah.
But I'm not in it for the money. I just love it.
Yeah.
That I'm actually in the process at this moment of getting set up, and I've got a 7mm wetsuit.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of money, as I'm sure you can relate to in the past before you got famous.
Oh yeah.
I just did a video. There's a thing, a camp shower, and it runs on gas. And I did a video the other day testing it, and what I did is I put the hose coming down, and it gets quite warm. I put it into the top of my wetsuit here. What do you professional guys like now? You've got heating. What do you do? Is there a way of like, do you put a hole in your wetsuit?
You know, I got my wetsuit already plumbed, if you will. I think if you buy certain wetsuits, you can get them already plumbed, and they got that kind of it's like a medical tubing that runs through. You got one in each leg, or one at each ankle. You got one at each hand. You got a couple down the back, so it really distributes it real nice and evenly. What you're using is an on-demand water heater,
Yep.
something like that. I think that would work pretty good. I don't know about the scalding or any chance of that happening, but yeah, as far as our wetsuits, they come pre-plumbed. We just hook right into them.
The actual unit that I'll be using, it's just I want to get the proper stuff, but as you probably know, I'm just starting out, so I've got to do things a bit on the cheap.
Of course.
You can set the temperature to it. The other day, I did get a little bit burnt on my stomach where the hose was touching.
Oh, okay.
But I have ordered what they call shark skin. It's like a proper stuff. It's not a wetsuit, but it's equivalent to a wetsuit, and it goes under your wetsuit. And once that comes, I think that'll make that better.
Yeah, any kind of coating underneath, you know, to separate that hose from your skin is going to be good, even if it's just long johns or something. Of course, those would be a little heavy wet, but that shark skin, I think, is going to be your ticket. And my thought would be, what happens if you suck up something that might clog the inner pipes of what you're getting heat from? So, you know, that heater probably has a coil of copper in it. What happens if you start to gum that up or clog that up? Is it going to back up and then come bursting out in steam, or what's going to happen to you? How does that work? How are the inner workings of that thing?
Okay. The inner workings are, what happens if that pump stops, like if I put a tap on the end near me, the flame goes out. It turns off.
Okay.
If I turn it back on again, it automatically lights and it starts heading up again. So, but I am aware of what I don't want to do is have any blockages. So I'll make sure there's a very good filter on the intake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds like a
Anyhow,
pretty
that-
decent bet.
Oh man, it's cheap. It's cheap, but
Yeah.
you know, I've got to think outside the box to do what I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
do
for
because
sure, yep.
when I tested it, Ryan, the other day, I did a YouTube video on it. It's the first time in my life I've spent so many days hypothermic, man, freezing my ass off. It was like swimming in a hot bath. It was beautiful.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
thought,
Isn't that
this is gonna be
nice?
a life changer.
I'd say that thing's working
is
good,
gonna be
then, man. You got a
life-changing.
big old smile.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll look into this plumbing of the wetsuit. Keep up the good work, Ryan. Love the Flash family. Sorry. Hi, hello, Ed. Hello, Jess.
Hello,
Hello,
David.
Dano.
What's
Hello,
up,
David.
buddy?
Bye.
Take it easy,
See you
brother.
later.
Hi, Debbie.
Bye.
See you,
Bye.
buddy.
Thanks for calling, buddy.
Thank you.
Our good
Oh,
pal.
yeah. Well, what happened? We didn't say hi to Debbie. She didn't get on.
Hey, Debbie.
Dang it, Debbie.
I got a word into Debbie. Na 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 na. So what's your 5-year goal, Ryan?
My 5-year goal is to be done with this stinking show and get out in the mountains and get a mine going. I've been kind of,
Do some real mining, huh?
that's right. And I've been kind of leaning towards, a smaller operation, small excavator, small wash plant, rich ground. And of course, that's kind of what everybody wants. But,
Right.
basically, I'm just going to spend a whole bunch of time prospecting to try to find something that makes sense,
So let me steer you back to the wetsuit thing here.
Okay.
You said that the wetsuits have plumbing built in.
Yeah.
So the water's not really going into the wetsuit as much as it's just flowing through the tubes, right?
No, it's at the end, the tube's cut at the end, so it's flowing right in.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah, they
So
go
the
like
water is
to
flowing
your
out, all right.
appendages, to your vital
Yeah.
areas.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah,
is
Yeah,
it
I dredged all summer long, and I never once thought of anything regarding cold.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
that to me is absolutely amazing.
well, especially when the water never gets above 40 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like my claims up in Skagit Valley, in Washington, in the North Cascades, our water on Finney Creek never got above 41 degrees. And
Yeah.
I had no heater. I'd come out after a tank, and I'm about hypothermic, and I'm in a 5 mil Farmer John, and
That's
I
rough.
I'd come out with purple face sticking out of my hood and bright purple lips, and it'd be like I'd be shivering for an hour next to the fire on the bedrock above the plunge hole. It's like I
That
wish
heater,
I had a water heater.
You know how long I'd last, Ed.
Those
Shit.
heaters are the best thing since sliced bread.
Now those they go to you. I've seen a friend of mine from Washington who dredges in Nome. I saw a picture of his, and it looked like he had like 2-3 lines going to his arms, some going to his legs, and they were like 1/4-inch water lines coming from like a manifold on the back of like your harness, your air's on and stuff.
Yeah.
He had like a harness with a manifold. It looked like, and all these like thinner water tubes going to his appendages.
Huh. All I can think with that is they just, instead of buying the pre-plumbed wetsuit, they went on their own there and ran their own
Right.
lines. But
Right. Right. Let me say hi to a couple of people just come in. Hello, Chris Neville and
Scuba Sonia.
how
She's
are you
going to be on
tonight?
our show in July.
Nice. Can't wait. Can't wait. Okay. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I like to say hi to people to pop in. I can type it in, and that's cool. But I like going, hey, look, Las Vegas urban treasure hunter. How are you tonight? Feels more personal, I think.
Oh, the Snoqualmie's colder? I believe it. 38 year round. Snoqualmie River. Interesting, Chris. Let me comment, my friend Michelle. Wow, bet you never thought about heated wetsuit surfing at Huntington Beach, huh? I sure did, Michelle. It was called peeing in your suit between sets. Just rinse it out really good afterwards. I probably shouldn't be saying that with Scuba Sonia in the room, but hey, it's true. It's
I thank you, Miss Laurel.
Let
Yeah,
me
old
see.
Fred, he's always peeing in his wetsuit. He loves to tell everyone about it and just let her rip. He'll stand there so everyone can see his face, and he'll just let her rip.
We all do it. Oh, you bet.
Face of satisfaction.
Yeah. What a funny guy that.
I bet. I'd love to sit around a campfire with Fred.
Oh yeah.
How about Justin?
Oh yeah, Fred.
How about Justin? How's he hanging out with?
Dustin.
Dustin, I mean, I always call him Justin.
Dustin, I'll tell you what, man. I'll be honest with you guys.
Is
Dustin is about as full of himself as a man can be and still walk upright. I mean, this guy, he's something else. But I'll give him credit in the fact that what he's saying generally makes sense, and he's right about a lot of things. But he's just so flagrant, or whatever the word is.
he knows it.
Yeah, he knows his position and he takes full advantage of it.
Right.
I found him to be a real nice guy, but Dustin, we all know him as not having any filter. And that's the truth about the guy. I mean, he will walk up to anybody and let him have it in a second with no hesitation at all, whether it be the preacher or whoever it might be. He's letting it rip. So
he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. Shoot first, ask questions later.
That's right. Yeah, and it works for him. So that's cool. He just comes off as kind of a jerk here and there, but it's not necessarily purposeful or pre-thought. It's just the way the guy is. So
how about the Gold Fox brothers? Don't they make the Gold Fox or whatever?
Anderson's.
Oh, you're talking Paul and Wes Richardson?
Paul and Wes, right.
I don't know anything about the Gold Fox. Maybe that's what they call their trommels or whatever.
Yeah, right. I thought that's it.
Yeah, I took one of their trommels out this season and worked with it for a weekend, a small trommel. And man, that thing was well made. It worked magnificently, and they got this inner tube. It's a double helix, and they got some kind of system of making this certain type of groove inside there that does amazing things with the gold. So, Wes, as you've seen on the show, he comes up with a lot of killer ideas, and he's been a big help to everyone. And you can see that in his trommel making, man. The guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. But they're both great, man. Wes was my best buddy, man. We hung out a lot, and he's just a good all-around dude. Another guy that could just hang out with all of us and just have a blast like any other. One thing I want to say is, coming in as a newbie to a show business type situation, I didn't know what the personalities would be like. I didn't know anything to expect. And these guys were the most down-to-earth,
so no huge ego type things.
Dustin is like that with the show or without. He's just that.
Dustin is Dustin.
That's right. And from everybody else, they were just the most down-to-earth people you'd ever meet. And there was never any we're on TV kind of feel to any of it.
Right.
We were doing what we were doing. They were in the way, and that was all there was to it. We were out there to mine. The TV, the camera crews, if they caught the scene or whatever, that's their business. We're over here mining, and that's the whole feel of the whole thing. So, it was nice for me because I suspected I might go into some kind of shisty not real mining scene in which I'd have to kind of
Fake
not
it?
be myself, you know.
Right.
And that wasn't at all the case. These guys are the real deal. They're dirtier than you and me. I'll tell you what, they are filthy miners. And it was awesome to be a part of those kind of, you know, people's lives and just be
Yeah,
alongside them.
I've chatted with Wes quite a few times on private messenger. We sit and chit chat about this and that.
Good dude.
Yeah, he's fun to talk to. Still haven't been able to get him on the show either.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you
know,
could
Wes
be
is
a
kind of
bird
a
on
quiet
his
guy.
shoulder too. They'll
Well,
come around.
We want them on here. I think they'd all be great guests, and you know.
Oh yeah.
It's a weird thing to think about, but they're kind of shy. You wouldn't think being on a TV show would be like that, but they are. They're actually kind of somewhat quiet guys when it comes to things like that, you know?
Right.
Well, so are we.
Yeah. Everybody's a little uncomfortable with that kind of thing, I suppose, you know. I
Hey,
am.
well, you know, when we first started doing this almost 3 years ago, I mean, we were. And Jesse,
Yeah,
look
the
at camera.
show.
Jesse, look at the camera.
You can see the back of my head just fine.
Yeah. You know, it gets easier, and it will. You know, like the next time you come on, when you come on, it'll be easier. You'll be more relaxed even now than now.
Mhm.
I mean, now you seem pretty relaxed, but next time you'll be coming, walk to the kitchen cupboard and grab a cup of coffee and then sit down.
Yeah,
You know?
I should have done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys are great guys, just down to earth. You know, like Wes and Paul, they're pretty quiet individuals, you know, in their
Right.
normal life, they really keep to themselves. And you know, that's kind of why they're a little bit tough to kind of get out of the, you know, safe zone for them, you know. It's a
Right.
weird thing to think about when they're on TV, but like I said, when we're out there filming and stuff, there's no real mentality of like, you know, we're TV stars or any of that nonsense. You know, we're out there mining and they're good people and the camera crews are just kind of an inconvenient.
Right.
the
Well,
way
it's not like you went out there with the idea of doing a movie or a video. You're out there with the aspect of doing some mining.
Yeah.
And you happen to have a video crew following you around.
Yeah.
You know, and I imagine having that crew following you around can be kind of weird at times.
I'll tell you what, it is strange as all get out. I get up in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm in there having a cup of coffee. In comes the audio crew to, you know, put GoPros on you and mic you up. And you're wearing a live mic from 7 in the morning to 7 at night.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, if you go to take a dump and you turn your mic off, people come looking for you to see what the heck's going on with your mic. So it's like Big Brother to the max. And
yeah, right.
I'm not a real big fan of that, but you know, the whole adventuring thing all makes it worth it.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna turn the mic off. I'm going to go take a dump. Excuse me.
It's quite a different, you know, coming from the woods of Willow, Alaska, where you don't see anybody, to going into that kind of scenario was quite an awakening, man. Quite an awakening.
So I've noticed that I've seen some of the pictures and little video clips and stuff of some of the cameramen, the crew.
Yeah.
The crew put out. Those guys look like they're fun to be around too.
They are. They're almost all of them are from London area. From you know.
Right.
So they're almost all desk jockeys. So they get out there on the side of the mountain. I mean, none of these guys have ever been to a construction site, so they have no idea. You know, we got lines, steel cables being pulled tight with, you know, a boulder on the end that weighs 2-3 tons, and these guys are standing with their neck up against the wire. You know, they have no clue. So
getting that shot. Oh, I'm gonna get this shot. Let's see. Let me watch this cable snap.
Yeah, we don't want to take no one's head off out there. So
right. Hey, Luke.
It's a heck of a little learning scenario for them as well as us, just trying to keep them out of the way and keep them alive.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know, those winches are God, they are the ticket. You know, I've been out here all this time mining with come-alongs and car jacks and whatever I can, you know, boulder slings or whatever. These winches do the work of 50 men, you know. It's just
Right.
amazing what they do. And I will never go back to dredging the same again now that I've seen the operation of those winches.
Well, and you know what's really cool? Those,
Speaking of some tools,
Wes and Fred and even Dustin, they come up with some really cool contraptions, you know, when they have to.
They do, man.
I mean, wow, you know, especially the rock movers.
Yep.
well, I'd like that tram ride across the canyon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's something else to be your ride to work every day. I tell you what, about 300 feet down, and it's ugly, dude. It's a long ways down there.
Now, what was going through your mind the first time you went across that?
I better get across this without freaking out, or everybody's gonna make fun of me.
now,
You know, I'm scared of heights, man. So I feared that crap for 2 or 3 months when I knew I was going to the show. That was my stumbling block right there, was getting across the fire. I'm scared of heights, man, in a bad way. And you know what? I just
faced your fear.
It's really secure, and I put my life in their hands, man, and just went for it, and it worked out great. And you know what? When I got to the other side, it was the best thing I ever done, and I couldn't wait to do it again.
Cool.
So now, how's your fear of heights?
Uh-oh. He froze. Ed.
Oh well.
Save us, Ed.
He's in Alaska. What can I do? Well,
No.
nonetheless, maybe he'll be back.
Okay.
But we have a good picture of him right there. There he is. He's
I'm
back.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, the Alaska dudes, man.
Now, Dennis, I believe it was, asked about the hammer drills. Let me see. Where are they? No, Jason did. What hammer drills do you guys use? They seem to take a crap load of abuse. Also, how many batteries?
Well, they do take a lot of abuse, and they're those expensive Hiltis.
Oh,
And,
Hilti is a good tool.
Yeah, we only had the one, so the one took all the punishment we could give it, and I think it's its second season, so it's a good tool, good brand. And we usually kept about 3 or 4 batteries around, you know, and we always had the generator running, charging batteries, and you know, with the intercoms and all those batteries. Then we had our own personal headset so we could hear everybody. Am I breaking up, or am I doing all right?
No, you're fine now.
I'm getting the occasional message that says my internet connection is unstable. So just a warning to you guys there.
Okay.
The internet out here isn't very good, so.
Well, so far it's been doing fine until that little hiccup.
Those Hiltis are incredible. You know, those long drill bits that we're using, they're just there's some kind of conduit with, you know, the head of the drill bit on one side and the tail of it in the other. And that method doesn't work real well for us, and we haven't been able to figure out how to keep those bits together, because wherever you weld them, they'll break.
Right, you can't, because you're not heat treating them, you just weld them.
That's right, yeah. And they may last 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get lucky, we can tap 6 rocks with it, but it's an imperfected way to do things for us, at least. You know, we haven't figured it out just yet. And on a side note, it gets fairly expensive to be running those anchor bolts and all those boulders. So if you could go,
because those are one-time use, right?
Yeah, they are one-time use, and Fred puts them in every rock. So you know, he's got $1,000 at the end of the season in the rocks there. And you know, Dustin does the complete opposite. They use that claw that Wes built and a couple different ones that Wes built, and that is the way to go, I would say. You know, I see them pulling rock after rock with no anchor bolts. So I'd say that'd probably be the best way to go.
Yeah, but that claw he's got limitations to it too, though, don't it?
I haven't been around much for the running of them, but I haven't heard many complaints.
No, as far as, you got to be really careful on how you load up them rocks in there, especially that big rake thing, you know. Because if
Yep.
they slip and roll back down, that's to be hurting.
Yeah,
Whereas
that's for
Fred's
sure.
method, it's not going to slip. You know,
Yeah.
so there's an advantage, but at the same time,
There is.
cost
It's quick too.
disadvantage.
It's fairly
Yeah.
quick too. You know, we can tap a
Right.
rock in about 30 seconds
Yeah,
and pull it out of there. So, you know,
right.
for the bigger rocks, it's been pretty well. It's been pretty good, and maybe the expense is justified for those real big rocks.
Yeah.
But
Now,
you know, Dustin wouldn't let his dad ever live down the fact that he was spending, you know, all that money on anchor bolts. So you know, they seem to think they have a better way over there, and it seems like the claw's holding up pretty well. So might be something worth looking into for the dredgers out there.
Yeah.
So I don't have cable, Ryan. So tell me, who had the highest gold count last season?
Dustin's crew whooped our butt, but they also had, you know, one of them Big Max King dredges, 6-inch, the
Yeah.
Ultra Max or whatever it's called. I can't remember. And then they also had a 6-inch the same size as us. So they basically had the extra Ultra Max as a bonus. So we didn't have that, and they whooped our butt, which, you know, you'd suspect since they're running triple the material, but I think they got 30 or 47 ounces or something, and we got 13. So the total was right about 50 ounces.
Imagine had you gone up to that waterfall, that big waterfall the first time, in
That's
the first
right.
place.
Yep. Yep.
You know, in the very first place. Clean
Yeah.
that out, then work your way down to the other ones, cleaning everything else out of the way.
Yeah. You know, we pushed on Fred pretty hard to just get up where the money spot was there. The
Right.
season's short, and we want to get on the gold, but you know, in that way, maybe the show kind of waters down the way Fred thinks, in the way that, you know, we can make a longer season out of working our way up. If we hop into that waterfall and we clean it out in 2 weeks, then what? You know, so maybe the show does kind of weigh on him in that way, and maybe that's why he didn't want to hop up there in the first place.
It just seemed like that would have made more sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Get the easy stuff first, and then work hard for the rest.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but you know, but like you said, Fred might have had that in the back of his mind that he needs to prolong this as much as possible. Because you can't tell me Fred didn't know all that gold was already up there. You can't tell me he didn't suspect there'd be that kind of gold up there. I mean, that's a big waterfall. Oh, we lost him again.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
You know, but that kind of makes sense if you're thinking about the show end of it also, which I'm sure he might have been, because that's more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
You know, and plus Dustin's crew was up there in that upper waterfall, and I think they pulled 30 ounces out of that one hole there. So, you know, it says for the creek that, you know, the gold definitely is accumulating in the waterfall area. So,
right.
You know, for us, it was like, why not? Let's just dive in. And, Fred, you know, I don't run things out there. None of us do. Fred kind of runs things. So we just kind of got to follow suit. We poke on him quite a bit to try to get him to come along, but, you know, he has his own ways, and, you know, he's a good dude. So we're willing to follow him wherever he goes.
But it was kind of cool. Like I said, it was cool watching Layla get in there and learn to dredge, and in that bedrock right there. She did a good job.
Yeah, she did. And she, you know, she went in there and kicked butt. You know, she didn't just cut it. She went in there and moved rocks. She went in there and filled the rock baskets and kicked some butt. And, you know, I was real proud of her. It took her a lot of time. You know, it took her towards the end of the season to get in there. And, you know, she was quite worried to be doing something for the first time on national television that could end up making her look pretty stupid if it didn't go right.
Yeah.
So,
that wouldn't have been good.
No, not at all.
Did she have other opportunities to go in, but just didn't do it? Just wasn't ready? Oh, it keeps breaking up. Keep losing them.
Yeah, must be that time of year.
It's prime time in Alaska. So his internet provider must be getting hammered.
Let me say hi to Ray. Ray Russo. What's up?
Hey,
Ray.
Ray. Am I back?
He's back. I was just saying it's your prime time in AK, you
Yeah.
know, so people are getting home and getting online. And
That's true, buddy.
Terry Curry had a question. How bad were the smaller rocks coming over the falls?
Yeah, that's always a concern, just like when, we mine on, deep in a canyon or something, a
Right.
rock fall is always a concern. And I could watch the waterfall at any time and see small rocks coming over. I'm just talking pebbles and stuff kicking off there. But luckily at the top of the waterfall, there was almost I don't know what you'd call it, but almost like a wall of rock that stuck up above the bedrock. So it kind of like a wall that held everything back. And there was some big old rocks piled up against that wall, but luckily it held up all season long and held all those rocks back. So, that's always a concern for any dredger, rocks coming from the top. You guys
Right.
know.
Coming
Right.
downstream.
Yeah, and we almost got took out this season by some. That wasn't. If you guys watched the show at all, you'd see that rock that came down, or those few rocks that came down, weren't but a few feet away from Paul and Kayla. So, had they moved over to the right or to the left, a couple feet,
Right.
there'd be a
Right.
whole different show going on there.
Right,
Not one we want
right.
to be a part of.
Now, with that in mind, what was your scariest moment?
Let me think about that. My scariest moment. I got to tell you, that first ride over that wire was butt. That was something else.
After that, everything was cake, huh?
Yeah, and the producers were like, "Hey, try to give us some footage as you're going across the wire," and I didn't have no trouble with that, man. I was hooting and hollering and screaming like a baby.
Right
Yeah,
on.
The whitewater season is over for now, but it's coming back.
Yep, we got one more season to go, and they got that big McKinley Falls down there, and they pulled 4,000 ounces out of that sucker in 2 weeks. So we might just have to get to that. Hopefully, nothing's been planned just yet, but that's going to be what I'm pushing to. Let's get down to that big waterfall. Let's get to the bottom of it and see what the hell's down there.
Where I dredged on our claims on Finney Creek in the North Cascades, we had 3 dredging claims, and our season was so short. We had a total of 30 days.
Mm.
We were working this plunge hole. We could never get to the bottom of the plunge hole. Never.
Yeah, that's a rough thing to do, man. I mean, you got to make a hole so big so that you don't have steep sides on it when you get down deep.
Right.
It's a hard effort to get down to the bottom. I think this waterfall down on McKinley Falls is about 30 feet deep. So that would be scuba gear at that point.
Right. McKinley Falls, is that the one they went to the first season?
No, I think they were on McKinley Creek, but they were on the falls. Nobody's mined those falls since they pulled that 4,000 ounces out, and I think that was about early 1900s, if I had to guess.
Oh, okay.
Only 28 days now on Finney Creek. Oh,
yeah, if you type in McKinley Creek in the Google and then click images, those pictures that you'll see are of them pulling out that gold and stuff. So you can kind of get a view of that old time stuff. And man, they went to huge lengths to build flumes and things like that to, divert the waterfall and all that stuff. I mean, the work they did back then was incredible, and nothing that I could see guys keeping up with today.
Well, that's like the stuff they did down in the Mother Lode too, or anywhere there was a gold rush in your home state of Oregon, Washington, Cali. Some of the stuff and equipment old timers got to some of the places. I've seen big equipment on almost the top of Mount Baker.
Yeah.
You're like, how the hell?
Yeah.
It's
Those
just
guys are
like,
crazy, man.
One piece at a time.
yeah,
Yep.
pack mules and
That's the thing as we get, more and more away from that time. I just don't think that people have the kahunas anymore to do some of that kind of stuff. I don't think the work ethic is going to be the same in the future as it was back then, which is what it took to do all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds, but it seems like the work ethic of the younger
Well,
generation and stuff is starting to slip away.
I think they've lost their sense of adventure.
Could be, very well could be.
Because that's what drives you. Is
Yeah.
that sense of adventure, a sense of something new, something different, something you haven't done before. Don't think that
too many
feeling-
people listen to Spock in the 70s and feed their kids tofu or
Yeah.
soy.
Right. So let me ask you a little behind the scenes thing here.
Sure.
And we kind of talked a little bit about it. I think it was mentioned. How was the MShaw for you? Did they bother you guys a lot? Was there a lot of regulation and stuff that you guys had to be careful of?
Not at all. I did take the classes and get certified at the beginning of the season, but I think because we're only doing a dredge operation and not a heavy equipment mining operation,
Right.
they didn't bother us at all. I don't think they bother dredgers any.
Yeah, it's not like his setup at Porcupine Creek next, it wasn't that type of placer operation. So I'm sure MShaw. Plus, you think a federal MShaw agent gonna take a long journey up into the mountains, go over a cable, or fly around in a helicopter to get pictures or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see any of them this season, so I just assume it's because now we're kind of in their recreational type scene,
Okay. So they didn't consider you guys a full-blown operation.
I don't think so. But I will say that there is a safety team that follows us around everywhere that is part of Discovery. So not only is there an audio team and a GoPro team and a camera crew, but there's safety team and stuff too that follows us. So you can imagine how hard it is to mine with all these people around. And
especially if they're coming back and checking your work.
Yeah, and they did do some nice things for us, like some of the trails that we had to come down that were real steep. They would come through, clear some brush, hang a rope there for us to hang on to. So, they helped us out a lot too. But they were definitely like, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you shouldn't do that, or stuff like that. And at the same time, they're standing up against a taut cable that has a 2-ton boulder on the end of it. So it was kind of a weird mix of things going on there. But all in all those guys are great. And I'll tell you what, that Discovery crew goes to town when they get a chance and they party like nobody's business. I guess overseas the pub's a big thing, man. And they spend thousands of dollars at the pub when they get there, and they party until people are passed out, man.
Well,
no matter how high up on the ladder they are, they're passed out in the road or wherever else.
I'm sure the local bars like that.
They party with the best of them, that's for sure. Good guys, all of them.
Nice. So how many is in? So you got a camera crew, you got audio crew, and a safety crew. How many people is that?
And that ain't even the half of it. There's an editing crew. There's all kind of weird editing involved stuff going on. There's big tents that they take footage into and they edit it on the spot and stuff.
Oh, really?
24 hours a day, they're getting footage and editing it, sending it to London and all this kind of thing. See if if they were in here, they might not like me talking about that.
During the day.
What's that?
Lots of video during the day, and they got to edit it, but they do it right there, huh? Wow, I didn't know that. Something new.
Yeah, I think the base, the base of the process starts there, and then they send it to London for the final stuff. But yeah, it's amazing how efficient they are with all that stuff, and they're good at it. And I'll tell you what, it takes takes 80 hours of footage to make one 40-minute episode, 45-minute episode. So they film for 2 weeks to make one episode.
Right.
And that's all day long, every day. Except for Sundays, but other than that, they're filming. So
they don't work on Sundays?
No, they don't work. They give us the day off on Sunday so we can take care of personal stuff,
So do you guys work on Sunday?
No, we don't. We're doing laundry. We're doing.
Oh, yeah. That's your day off too to work, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. That's our one day to get it all done. So
now from like now they still stage stuff from Porcupine, right?
Yeah, the kind of way it goes is Porcupine sits on the bottom of all the claims. It's on the lowest area. You can drive a car right to Porcupine.
Right.
Then from Porcupine, it goes up to the McKinley claim, which the road gets pretty hairy and uphill to get to the McKinley claim. Once you get to the McKinley claim, that's where the wire's located that you cross over. And then about 2 miles above that wire is where the two fish claims were that we were at. So quite an extensive journey for sure. And there's not a whole lot going on at Porcupine Creek these days, except for that's where the food comes from. Jen, Fred's wife, she runs the cooking crew down there. And that's where they send the food up from. So every day our food comes all the way from Porcupine Creek up across the wire, up a 2-mile trail, and delivered to us.
So from Porcupine Creek to your workstation, what's your travel time?
I would say right around an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, but it has to be a really nice commute, quite a adventurous commute every week. Do you stay up?
Commute, yeah, it's a white knuckle commute.
Now you stay up you stay in a hooch up by the mining area, right? For the week?
Yeah, for the whole week. Yeah, we stay up in tents, just like it showed there. We got tents with basically cyclone fences around them to keep the bears out, and that's where we stay. Everybody.
Have you guys had any too close for comfort encounters with any bears or cougars?
Yeah, we had some, when we go mining for the day, the camp's empty and that's when they come in, they come in all the time. And I was down the road by myself one day and a bear came walking through the woods. He didn't know I was there and he got a little close and I heard some teeth chattering and a little bit of snorting and whatnot. And I just started yelling at him, and all that. And he ran off, but it was a little bit of a close call right there. But yeah, they're in our camp almost every day, man.
What kind of heat do you pack when you're not dredging?
I took my 300 Win Mag up there, and there's everybody up there is carrying a pistol of some sort.
Right.
Oh, I would be. Hell, I do that in Washington.
I brought a rifle up, but it stayed in my tent the whole time. I haven't ever carried a gun walking around Alaska. I tromped through the thickest weeds and brush you can't see through, and I've never had to carry a gun. And I'm not saying people should do that, but just keep in mind that bears, unless there's something wrong with them, are more scared of you than you are of them. So,
yeah,
unless you
They
get
don't
one
want
with
to
brain
be
damage,
around us anymore than we want them around us.
That's exactly right. They hightail it for the hills when we come around.
And pretty much only time that anything really attacks is out of fear or hunger.
Yeah, exactly. And that could happen, man. It's not really that intelligent of me to be walking around without no firearm, but
do you carry any bear spray or anything like that?
No, nothing. But the honest truth is, in my opinion, that if a bear was charging you, you got about a 99% chance of not hitting the broadside of a barn. So, when you're under that kind of pressure and that kind of stress, and it's, a bear travels so fast, the chances of you hitting that thing are probably really, really, really slim.
How many feet do they, 13 feet per stride or something like that?
Yeah, something ridiculous, So yeah. I'd have a hard time believing I'd hit anything anyway. But
Brian.
I probably really should.
Look what Brian said.
I saw what he said.
I wish a 40-year-old cougar would jump on me in the tent. Hey, bro.
Bob says bacon grease cologne, Bryan.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people up here that walk around with the biggest pistols you ever seen, but there's a lot of people who don't take anything. So, there are bear deaths in Alaska all the time. Not all the time, but a few a year. So the chance is there, but it's very, very unlikely that you're going to be attacked by a bear. I'd worry more about moose, to tell you the truth. They kill more people than bear.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah, that's
moose
what I
can be
hear.
pretty scary. I've only seen moose when I was up in New England, Maine, and New Hampshire. Never saw anything like that in Washington. Seen a hell of a lot of elk. I've seen a lot of signs of cougars. Only a handful of bears. But most time when I hiked in the woods back home, I'd be noisier than all get up. I'm not hunting.
And we are too, man.
I
Make all kinds of racket.
Yeah, I'm going from point A to point B. I'm not out hunting. So I'd be like, yo, bear, scat cat.
Yeah,
I'm
we do
eating
the
your
same
food,
thing,
bear. Leave me alone while I pick salmon berries and stuff.
Yeah, and up in our area, especially in Haines, a lot of those smaller bears stay up in the mountains, where the bigger bears, they come down to the coastline to feed on salmon, and
Right.
those smaller bears don't want the trouble. So a lot of those smaller bears will stay up in the higher mountains where we're at, and so most of the trouble that we have in camp is just real small juvenile bears, which you wouldn't think would be the case, but it is. That's everything we've seen this year or last year was all real small bears, grizzly and blacks.
They still do damage.
Yeah, they do, man, and they're a pain in the butt too. They don't listen very well.
They like to tear into your camp.
Yeah. But overall, man, it was a hell of an experience, just a lot of fun, and I'm just a lucky guy to be able to, come from such humble beginnings and get where I'm at today. And, it's
Isn't that
definitely cool to sit down and look over and see old Dakota Fred there, and
Oh, I bet.
it's something else, man. And I wouldn't take it back for the world. And I'm glad that I took this opportunity and didn't pass it up like I did with Vern and stuff. It was well worth it, even though, the money might not be the greatest or what have you. 1,000% worth it. 1,000%.
Oh, that would be awesome to be up there, dredging with Fred or any of those guys, Wes, Rich, any of them.
They're all cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, maybe one day.
Maybe one day too.
Yeah. I got some interesting ideas for the future, and I don't know if I don't know if any of it will ever work out. It's all, it's all based on gold. So if the gold isn't there, then there's not a whole lot that can be done. But,
Right.
hopefully one of these days I find something rich enough to invite everybody up to just go at it.
All right, I got another super chat. Thank you very much,
Square nails.
Bob. Oh yeah, super chat.
Where's it at, Ed?
That's
There it is.
That little delay action.
Not too bad tonight, actually.
No, and it's funny because it's been telling me I had a poor signal all night on YouTube side. On my encoder side, I'm green light all the way. No, it's odd, so many factors, and some days it works totally awesome, and other days it don't, and you have the exact same settings. It's like scratch your head. And live entertainment for you.
You bet. You bet. And it's that time, Ed.
That it is. That it is. Well, time flies when you're having fun. And like you all know, my time with the Flash fam is my favorite time of the week. We usually cut it off around 10 o'clock our time. Ryan. But man, it's been great to have you on.
Yeah, man, and I want to come back and talk to you guys again and hang out, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
have some more news here pretty quick, so we'll do it again.
Excellent.
definitely love to have you
And
back.
definitely, if I could talk to you into like whispering in a couple of ears up there.
Yeah, man, I'll take care of it. I'll do what I can. I can't make them do it, but I can sure
Right.
push them.
No. And I don't like bugging people, I send a message. If they reply, they reply. If not, I don't like hounding them.
Right.
But, it never hurts to have a friend go, hey, I was a guest on my friend's show and it's a great time. I know they'd like to have you on.
Yeah, James from the show, he'd be a good guy to have on, Ed. He did the whole mining and gnome and stuff, so he'd be a good guy to have on, and he
Right.
seems very interested.
James was new this year too, right?
Yeah, James was new too, and he seemed
Right.
very, very willing to do it. So
Oh, cool. Well,
hit him up.
yeah. We'll have to talk on Facebook
Yeah,
sometime
for sure.
Right.
about it. I agree. Like I've been after you since I've started this show, going on 3 years now, to come on. We've been friends on YouTube forever. One day when I get back home, we definitely need to either, when I get to AK, one day I will. It ain't a maybe thing. One day I will. Maybe then, maybe sometime if we're both in the Portland area. When I see my mom in Vancouver, I stay in Portland. So, and
We'll have to set something up, man. We'll make it happen.
that'd be awesome. I know we've talked about it before, and something will happen. Again, I hope you had a great time. I hope you had as good of a time as we've had.
I did, buddy.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I'm
I'm really
stoked.
glad I finally got to meet you. You know,
Yeah,
I
great.
always thought what you were doing was really cool and awesome. Just living that dream when everybody wants to do. But, we can't all do it. So we live vicariously through you.
And I appreciate you guys doing it, man. I just like to share and give as much out as I can that makes it at least fun for you guys to
Right.
watch and stuff like
Right.
that.
Are you planning on doing anything more with your channel?
With the show on now, I'm not sure. I would like to. I really want to. And I was getting that itch to start doing it again right when I got on the show. And I'll figure something out. I do plan on the future, starting it back up and get some new videos. I just haven't had any good news lately, as far as prospecting has been fairly poor. So I hate to show all that. People don't tend to stick around to watch nothing.
Just don't start a cooking show.
I certainly won't. If you ever had my cooking, you'd know that ain't gonna happen.
But I might have heard something about that somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Sure where.
Thank you, Rose. Pardon me.
All right, good night, Rose.
Good night, Rose.
Yeah, good night, Chad, man. Thank you all for coming in and listening to me.
Wait around, Ryan. This won't take long. Everybody, thank you for joining us for this week's Tuesday Night Hangout Live with our friend Ryan. Next week, we have Aaron from Snorkle Pirate.
Cool.
That should be a really good show. He's also going to venture from Virginia to Flash Bash, so I can't wait to meet him. I appreciate all of you being here because we'd be nothing jack crap
We're sitting here talking to ourselves.
without all of you out there, the Flash fam. Dano, Jesse, thank you as always for being great co-hosts. And until Yeah,
distancing.
social distancing, whatever. Until then, may you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, because it happens. Maybe one day too. We'll meet you on the river. Good night, everybody. Until next time, we're out of here. Good night, Dano. Good night, Jesse. Good night, everybody. God bless. Love you all. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.